In June 1911, the Italian company Zanetti organized an entertainment tour for rich and noble families on a small three-carriage train from Rome station to Mount Lombardy. The tour included passing through a 1,000-meter-long tunnel, which was unique at the beginning of the 20th century. The railway was surrounded by various picturesque scenes and views, which the 106 passengers watched with interest. At the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, the Industrial Revolution was at its peak of strength and development. Inventions continued and did not stop, especially an industrial and productive boom in conductive means. Means of transportation were, for example, cars, motorcycles, ships, and trains. Many companies were trying in all advertising and seductive ways to attract wealthy people with their offers on luxury trips on these ships, cars, or trains. Or even airships, just like what happened with the Titanic, which contained only the elite and the wealthy. Or the German Heisenberg airship, which has a tragic story that still makes people terrified of hydrogen fuel today. There is also an Italian police train called Zanetti, which is what this story revolves around. This Italian company manufactured a luxury train that was unparalleled in Italy. Advertising campaigns began to be launched everywhere to attract wealthy people in Italy to spend a legendary trip on this train from Rome to Milan. A trip in which they will enjoy the beauty of the charming Italian nature. Zanetti Company promised them that no one will be able to obtain a ticket for this trip, except a few. Therefore, the rich and the bourgeoisie rush to buy a ticket to enjoy this unique trip on the train, who do not know that their fate will end within him forever. They are all from the upper class and wealthy Italians. The Zanetti train departed in 1911, loaded with happy passengers. A few hours later, the Zanetti train arrived at the Lombardy mountain tunnel. This tunnel penetrates the mountain with a length of 1 kilometer. The train entered the tunnel, but the minute of time it took for the train to cover a kilometer inside the tunnel took 100 years. The train entered the tunnel with 106 passengers and has not left it to this day. The Italian police searched for the train on land, sea, and air, but they did not find it, as if the ground had swallowed it. Or he entered a wormhole that took him to another galaxy or another planet. 2 passengers survived the Zanetti train with psychological trauma. 2 passengers out of 106 passengers of the Zanetti train were able to escape from the train with their ability. Their survival was like a Hollywood action horror movie. They jumped off the train quickly. When they were questioned by the police about what happened to the train, where it disappeared, and where the other passengers went, a state of astonishment and shock was evident on their faces, as if they had seen jinn creatures or seen one of the gates of hell. They were not interrogated until they regained their senses. They told the investigators that as the train was approaching to enter the tunnel, a white, misty layer covered the train. It was like white smoke, or so it seemed to them, and it began to go inside for all the travelers to see. The density of this white substance increased rapidly until it turned into a sticky white liquid, which caused the passengers extreme fear and panic. The 2 surviving passengers of the train were sitting in seats near an open door. This made them quickly think about jumping off the train and saving themselves. This is what happened as they jumped, and the train disappeared before their eyes. This shocking incident was not easy for the passengers, as they had suffered deep psychological crises for years, especially with the spread of news that the train was not found. All of this, in addition to this frightening story told by the 2 passengers, prompted the Italian railways to take the decision to close. The entrance and exit of the cursed tunnel were completely covered with stones. During the World War, in which Italy was a party, a bomb fell on the tunnel, completely destroying it. The question that everyone who heard the story asks remains, where did the Zanetti train disappear? Where is it now? Such strange incidents are usually strange if they are actually true as they are narrated. It is considered fertile ground for those interested in mysterious issues that cannot be explained by either logic or science. The confirmed fact is that up to this moment there is no explanation for what happened to the train. There is no sign of the train or passengers 104. But as the years passed, accounts began to come from people around the world claiming to be what might be the missing Italian train 400 years ago. One of the monks said, who lived in the city of Modena, northern Italy, in the Emilia-Romagna region. He said in his testimony that he saw a large thing that seemed to be metal and had many windows, and inside it were people wearing strange clothes that he had never seen before. Appearance of the Zanetti train in Mexico. In the year 1840, something strange happened very far away from Italy and the continent of Europe. West in Latin America, specifically in Mexico, where 104 people appeared in Mexico City wearing strange clothes, as if they appeared out of nowhere. They wear strange clothes that are neither from that time nor from that region. According to the story, they were taken directly to the Mexican police to find out their identities, nationalities, and where they came from. They were saying that they came from the Italian capital, Rome, via train. Of course, it is known that in that period more than 250 years ago there was no train between Rome and Italy, nor between Europe and the American continent, so how did they reach Mexico? The Mexican company did not believe their story at all and thought they were lying, so they brought in a psychiatrist named Jose Saxino. The Mexican police summoned him to examine these people and ensure their mental health, so that they could be taken directly to psychiatric hospitals. But I do not know why records and documents do not show what happened to these travelers, where they stayed, and how they spent their lives. Years passed until people gradually began to forget the disappearance of the Zanetti train, until a story spread about people who saw a ghost of a train near the Ukrainian town of Poltava, and also in Ukraine in a place near the village of Zvelichi on October 29, 1955. Pyotr Ustmenko, one of the railway workers who was monitoring the signals, saw something strange that he had never seen before in his entire career. He saw a train without a driver with 3 cars, its windows closed with curtains, and what was strangest of all was that it had no departure record, or an arrival date, and no flights scheduled for that day. Ustmenko did not understand where this train came from. The worker was forced to inform the officials about what he saw and told them about the incident. It is worth noting that worker Ustmenko had never heard of the disappearance of the Italian Zanetti train. Everyone realized in shock and astonishment that this train that passed through their station might be the missing Zanetti Ghost Train. Some believe that the company that actually manufactured the train deliberately concealed what happened to the train and the passengers in order to preserve its prestigious commercial reputation. But it is clear that the company's plan did not go as planned. The legend of the disappearance of the Zanetti Ghost Train has become similar to another legend, the Flying Dutchman. The legendary ghost ship that can never dock in any port in the world and will continue sailing forever without stopping. The legendary Zanetti train has been seen in Norway, Britain, and also in Russia. But Ukraine is the country where he was most seen, where famous Ukrainian local newspapers such as Pravda Ukraine and Glory of Sevastopol were follow the news of this cursed train in its issues published on August 12, 1992. Did the Zanetti train travel through time? Scientifically, there is no explanation for the disappearance of the Zanetti train inside the tunnel without a trace. This ambiguity in the story made many people and believers in supernatural phenomena believe that this train, he may have traveled through time to the past, especially with the narration of his appearance in Mexico in the year 1840, that is, 71 years before the beginning of the journey in the first place, which was in 1911, and its passengers claimed that they were coming from Rome, Italy, knowing that there was no railway between Italy and Mexico at all. Each country is on a separate continent separated by the Atlantic Ocean, so how did they reach Mexico? This theory suggests that the fog was a manifestation of a rift in the fabric of time and space. According to this belief, the train and its passengers were transported to another dimension or time period. Another supernatural theory involves the idea that the train is cursed, built on an ancient graveyard or site with a dark history. The story of this train is truly mind-numbing. No one can know the truth about what happened in the beginning and where it is now. I want to know your opinion. Do you think it is possible for this train to have passed through a time portal and traveled to the past?